Hello and welcome to my channel, and I am Stephanie, and this is a mid-February wrap-up. I'm gonna do it again at the end of the month because I've already read 16 books for the month of February. As I said, I read 16 books already for the month of February, and we are only on February the 17th, 18th, 17th, 18th, yeah, wow, 16 books, that's like almost a book a day, people, here, yeah, so my end of the month wrap up is going to be ridiculous, so I figured I would split this month up, and there's a good possibility if I keep on this road of reading, it's going to be this way for the entire year, and I'm going to smash my goal of 156 books, especially since I'm already at like 40. Here are the books that I read from the 1st of February to the 17th of February. So the first book that I listened to was Joyride by Lauren Blakely, and it was an audiobook. This book I gave 3 stars. It is a contemporary. It's about 2 mechanics. I personally didn't particularly care for this. Maybe it was because I listened to it in audiobook. It only had 1 narrator, which was the male narrator. I appreciated the fact that it was written in a male's POV, but at the same time, hearing him read the small little notes of the female didn't do it for me. It threw me out of the story, and it just didn't work for me. Plus, I'm pretty sure this is a standalone, but there are other characters that are introduced that you sort of should have already known about, which are in the rest of the series of standalones as well. So this book only gets 3 stars from me. The next book is The Foxe and the Hound by R.S. Gray, and I listened to this book on audiobook as well. It is a rom-com, and I gave this book 4 stars. You have Adam, who is a vet, and then you have Madeline, who is this dog owner, and you pretty much are introduced to these 2 characters where Madeline has her dog that is supposed to be a small dog, and come to find out he decides to attack, well, not really attack, is lovingly approaches Adam, who you find out later is Adam, and almost just dirties up, just collapse, dog person, yeah. Very bad on the side of the street, and then she takes him into the vet's office and finds out that it's Adam. So they progress from there, and they have sort of this fake sort of romance, and it's kind of a rom-com. This is my first reading of any books from R.S. Gray, and I did enjoy it. I am looking forward into looking into some other books by R.S. Gray, and I did enjoy it. Like I said, I gave it 4 stars. The next book that I listened to was The Last Black Unicorn by Tiffany Haddish. This is a memoir or autobiography, whichever one you want to sort of call it. Listen to it on audiobook, and Tiffany is the narrator for it, so her comedic timing was on point for it. Yes, amazing. I gave this book 5 stars. It was emotional. It gave you a little piece into what her struggles have been as a comedian and how she has come into what she has now with Girl Trip and the things that she's done in her past, and how she's met different other comedians and things like that, where she came from. She is very interesting, and I really enjoyed listening to her and her comedic timing, and I just think she's hilarious anyways. The next book was The Upside of Being Single by Emma Hart, and this book was supposed to be a rom-com. I read it as an arc. I wasn't feeling it. I only gave it 3 stars. It follows Millie and Jake, and Millie is with her 4 friends. This is sort of the introduction to, no, I'm sorry, 3 friends. 2 other, so it's 3 of them. So there's 2 other friends, but it's sort of an introduction into this series of standalones. But Millie is out with her friends. They live in New Orleans, and she is a hotel manager. Well, they dare her to flash during Mardi Gras to get some beads, and lo and behold, who does she flash? Her brand new hotel owner, Jake. And from there, it's funny, but it's such a slow burn, and then it doesn't get you anywhere, that I was just like, I'm done. Can we get... Okay. Ooh, this frustration. Oh, the frustration. So, it was just over it. So, 3 stars for that one. Sorry. The next book was Lust Killer by Anne Rule, and this is a biography and true crime, which I did not know. Oh my goodness. So I read this book for the 2018 Romance Roundabout. I needed to read a mystery, and oh, was this a mystery? It's about a serial killer, the Lust Killer serial killer, that is true and was operated in the state of Oregon and Washington maybe, but definitely in Oregon. Oh my God. Creepy as shit. I listened to it on audiobook, and the narrator was that story just all together. I'm glad I didn't live in Oregon in the late 1970s. And also, just to let you know, this serial killer is also featured in the Netflix show Mindhunters. I haven't been able to watch it yet, but I believe it's like episodes 7 and 8 or 8 and 9, something like that. But he's actually like featured. His story is featured. Ooh, if you're into like true crime, serial killers, learning about them and hearing their story, yeah, go check that book out. Creepy, crazy. Oh, just all sorts of. The next book I read was She Asked For It by Willow Winters. This is a dark romance. I read it as an arc. And so if you can take anything from this title, I would say use it as your trigger warning, because it deals with some things that are happening and very prevalent in today's society. And the way Willow approaches this situation, the reason I say that it's a dark romance is because there is a romance that goes along with it, but it's dark because of the subject matter. I'm not going to tell you any more than that. I give this book 5 stars. Willow handled the situation, or the situations, because there's multiple ones and issues, so beautifully. I mean, there was one point I spent about 15-20 minutes just bawling, and my husband came up and was like, are you okay? I was just like, book, just the book. And wow. Go check that out, unless things that trigger you are very prevalent in the news, then I would say maybe hold off. Or if you can possibly handle it, I say it's done in a beautiful way that it gives closure and understanding. So I'll just leave it at that. The next book that I read was The Air He Breathes by Brittainy C. Cherry, and this is a contemporary. I listened to it on audiobook, and this story, I gave it 4 stars. It started off very interestingly. I'm not sure if I'm going to put this in my romance roundabout, but I am putting it as one of my Black authors that I did read, because Brittainy C. Cherry is an African-American author. So this story follows Tristan, who has a very traumatic incident happen to him, and he becomes sort of the town hermit, and he's a loner and nobody wants to talk to him, things like that. Elizabeth has a traumatic incident happen to her as well, but she's a single mom, and she moves away from the town, but then ends up moving back to the town because that's where her family is, and the two of them end up being neighbors, and they have to deal with their trauma together, and their journey is crazy. And then some things happen, and I was just like, what? Oh, okay, yep, This is book number 1 in the Element series by Brittainy C. Cherry, and I really can't wait to get to the rest of the books. They are available on audiobook as well, so I'm looking forward to checking those out. The next books pretty much were read for Contemporary-a-thon, and I will just link the wrap-up for that in the cards over here, so you can go and check those out. But I'll name them off and give you my rating for them. I won't go too much into it because, yeah, that could create this video to be super long. But the first book for that week was Sex Fantasy by Sophia Foster-Dimino. Yeah, 1-star graphic novel. The next book was Adulthood is a Myth, a Sarah Scribbles collection, Scribbles #1 by Sarah Andersen, and I gave that book 5 stars. It's a graphic novel. Next was My Soul to Keep, Soul Series #1 by Kennedy Ryan. It's a contemporary, and I gave that book 5 stars. Listen to it on audiobook. Next was Keeping It, a Navy SEAL meets a virgin romance by Rachel Robinson, and that book is a contemporary, and I gave it 5 stars, and it was an arc. Next was A Dirty English, English #1 by Ilsa Madden-Mills, and I gave that book 4 stars. It is a YA book, and I listened to it on audiobook. Next, this wasn't part of Contemporary-a-thon, but I did read it during this week, or during the week of Contemporary-a-thon, and that is The Immortal Circus, Act #1 by A.R. Kahler, and this is a fantasy mystery, I guess you could say, and I listened to it on audiobook. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I've had this book on my Kindle in Audible for quite a few years. I think I liked the cover mainly and was like, I really want to sort of get into it. Well, now I've gotten into it, and it's about the Immortal Circus, and the circus actors don't die, but one of them happens to die in the opening of the story, and you have Vivian, who is this sort of stowaway. I don't know why I would call her stowaway, but she joins the troupe. She's immortal, and she doesn't have any magic with her, but Mab ended up taking her on and gives her a contract, and she joins the circus and starts traveling with them. Well, some of the acts start dying, and being called the Immortal Circus, you're not supposed to die in it. Come to find out, there is a feud between the summer court and the winter court. Winter court is held by Queen Mab, and yeah, all sorts of craziness, and I can't wait to get to Act 2. The next book I read was A Thousand Boy Kisses by Tillie. This is a YA novel, and I listened to it on audiobook. I gave it 5 stars. Next was The Player by Contreras, and it's a contemporary. I gave that book 4 stars. I listened to it on audiobook. And then finally, I finished Into the Light Duet #1 by Aleatha Roman, and this is a mystery, dark, thriller, psychological story. I give it 5 stars, and I listened to it on audiobook. So, if any of those books you want more from, go check out that wrap-up video for Contemporary-a-thon Round 2. But those are the books that I read for those first couple days of February. Let me know down in the comments if you have read any of those books, what your thoughts on them were. I will be back in a couple weeks with, a couple weeks, week and a half or so, because February is a short month, but with more 16 books craziness, right? Yes. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. Let me know down in the comments all your thoughts. In the description box, there is a feedback form for you guys to help me improve my channel. Thank you for watching, and we will see you guys later.